decision space, because we're here to help facilitate those discussions and participate.
So the CEQ items, from your point of view, has nothing to do with the Army Corps. I'm sorry to be dense, but the Army Corps is separate. When you were addressing water issues, you were talking with ADEQ type issues, but that's a state agency. That's where it gets confusing. I'm sorry.
It is confusing. It's complex. The water issues obviously span all of us. And so there's regulatory authority that Army Corps has that they'll deal with EPA. Our obligation is to disclose those effects so that the Army Corps can best meet their regulatory needs. So they're relying on our EIS to understand what they need to do to mitigate. So that's the connection, is the FEIS is being used by Army Corps to help determine what the mitigation is. They are the sole authority to determine whether or not they have enough. EPA can weigh in and decide if they do or not, but Army Corps is going to make their own decision as to whether or not they do. Our piece of it is, again, disclosing, and that's what we've been working with EPA on, is to make sure that we are adequately disclosing. And that's where I think we made great progress. So the mitigation part is really, it's not on the National Forest, it's going to be off. And so it's going to be, the other agencies are going to wait.
So
does that help at all?
I'm still confused about this. John asked, what could end up CEQ? You said the main thing is mitigation. Water quality, water quantity could be air. Now, do you think that, so these are not necessarily the 404 issues, but other water quality and quantity issues that you would be involved in that would go to CEQ, could go to CEQ? Is that what you mean? I guess I just want to make sure I understand you and not print something wrong on the paper.
Well, I don't want you to say something wrong either, or something that I shouldn't say as far as, what one agency may want to do or what not want. The CEQ is the arbitrator at the White House level on ensuring that the agencies have adequately met their NEPA obligations, and also that they're in agreement with the effects. And so that's what EPA will do, is to help the agencies in their ongoing discussions to try to figure out how mitigation can adequately reflect what needs to be done with the effects that have been disclosed. So I don't know how I can make it clearer for you. It is what it is that those are just ongoing discussions to try to mitigate that. Whether there are water issues, there are certain things that we have disclosed that Rosemont's agreed to do, and there's 100 pages of that, and a lot of it is directly affecting water quality and quantity. And whether that's adequate is just what we'll have to come to an agreement on.
So the thing that struck me about the November 7th letter that I was referring to by Jake Dine is she was very specific in what she was saying will happen. If this happens, then these downrange effects will happen. The EIS seems to be much more circumspect in what you're saying. You mostly couch it in terms of may happen, could happen, might happen. And then when you talk about the repairing habitats, you said the long-term effects are uncertain. Is that where the difference is between the Forest Service point of view and what may be happening to the water quality versus other agencies? Is that where the difference is going to come down to?
Well, again, I won't speak directly for EPA, but I would say that we've made great progress in aligning what the effects are.
You mean since November 7th, David?
And
that's based on Rosemont's current mitigation plan for
no, it's based on
our offset water conservation.
It's based on our agreement on what those disclosures are for the effects. So we've been working directly with EPA on that. Again, the outstanding issues are more towards the mitigation needs to be done versus whether or not there's an effect. I've told you there's going to be an effect. And so that's really not up for debate, basically. those could be mitigated or not mitigated.
If they can't be mitigated, what does that mean?
Well, again, that's up for those other agencies to determine.
If their option is no permit, or, I mean, what's the option if they've determined this can't be mitigated, the damage is too great, there's no way to mitigate it, then what?
Well, I don't want to get into hypothesize, but each agency has to make their own determination. Whether or not it's, the effects are of such unacceptable consequences that they would have to make a determination to CEQ or to somebody else to determine, to arbitrate what that final decision might be.
And you're drawing a line at the end of the Forest Service boundary, right? Because you're talking about the effects on the Forest Service, and they're talking about the effects downrange and total effect
I
on
have
BLM.
to disclose what those effects are, but I can't make a determination of what should be or should not be done.
Right.
Back to the CEQ question. You have a lot of computer models that tried with mixed success, I guess, to figure out what could be the impacts on Davis and Canyon in 100 years or 1,000 years. What about what do you think the odds are without a computer model, whether this thing is going to have to go to CEQ before it's all over? Can you give me an informed speculation on that?
I'm not going to speculate. Again, we're having substantive discussions with all the agencies, including EPA, including beyond, including the Park Service, with CEQ to try to resolve those issues.
And this is something that's has to be resolved within the second 45-day period plus 30, or is this something that can be resolved outside of that?
Yes, it could be resolved outside of that.
So it could take longer, it could continue past the...
It could be shorter. It could be shorter.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it could be shorter.
Is CEQ already involved then?
Yes, that's what I said. that
Okay.
We're having substantive discussions with CQ and those other federal agencies.
So the role is act as kind of a referee?
In a sense.
What's their role?
That is the role of CQ.
They report to the White House, so ultimately they carry a lot of weight.
They report to the White House?
They are our arm of the White House.
Correct.
And they're exempt from any time frame, correct?
Well, they're the ones that set the rules. I don't, again, there is regulatory timeframes for referrals. And so those agencies that would refer be within a certain timeframe.
No, but for CEQ to come to a resolution of this referee process, is there a time limit on that?
Well, if it were officially referred, then there are timeframes with it. And I don't know, I can't tell you what CEQ's timeframe is for a referral.
So has it been officially referred yet, or?
No.
So the discussions that are going on, informal, is that how you call it? Unofficial, uninformal? Is CEQ meeting with any of these parties, or is their involvement been mainly on the phone? Are they coming out here, or forces will talking to them in DC, or?
We are having substantive discussions with CEQ and all those other agencies. That's how they want me to characterize it.
And CEQ is only in Washington DC. Do they have like a regional office?
No, there's Washington.
Have they been out here at all to talk to anybody?
They don't have to come out here. We have communications.
Well, they have that, I'm just asking.
No, they haven't been here personally.
Okay. I understand they don't have to, but.
All right, well, again, it's a very complex thing, and I appreciate you guys trying to figure out how to get the story right and how to get the information correct. It is ongoing, and it will continue. And the next few months will be interesting, and I'm sure you guys will be involved. We'll try to keep you in the loop as to what's happening. And as soon as I know, at a certain point in the process that is newsworthy, I will let you know. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.